In the bustling city of Lagos, a beautiful young lady Vanessa got married to a handsome young man named Charlie. Before they got married, Charlie requested that Vanessa should end her friendship with her best friend. Charlie wasn't angry about it. He was calm, pleading. He said he didn't feel right about the bond she had. But Vanessa called him insecure. She even mocked him for it. They argued over it for weeks, through their engagement, right up to a few days after the wedding. Vanessa kept insisting that her best friend and herself were like siblings. Nothing more. That was her truth then. But somewhere in the quiet corners of her heart, doubt whispered. There were moments, brief, confusing moments, when she wondered if there was something more. Still, she buried those feelings. She didn't want to lose either of them. Then one evening, while Vanessa was in the kitchen preparing dinner for her husband, her best friend came by. As she stirred the pot, he walked up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. Her stomach twisted. Vanessa pushed him away and told him to stop, that her husband wouldn't like it. He chuckled, said nothing, and walked back to the living room. Vanessa finished cooking, showered, and stepped out of the bathroom. That's when she saw him again, in the bedroom. Her body was still wet, a towel barely covering her. She told him to leave, politely, firmly. But he didn't. He grabbed her, kissed her, and forced her onto the bed. Vanessa's heart pounded as she struggled against him. Somehow, she managed to break free, and after a few tense minutes, he gave up and left the house. Vanessa and her best friend never spoke after that. She didn't tell her husband. She couldn't. But the guilt started to gnaw at her, not just for what happened, but for what she felt. Why did she feel sorry for him? Why did part of her miss him? She went to her best friend's house to apologize. She told herself it was closure. When she arrived, he acted as though nothing had happened. No tension. No shame. He smiled and welcomed her in, and just like that, they were talking again, as if nothing had ever broken. A few days later, early in the morning, there was a knock at Vanessa's door. Her husband was getting ready for work. Vanessa opened it and there stood her best friend, holding a food flask. "I brought something for you," he said casually. Coincidentally, she hadn't prepared lunch for her husband that day, so she took the food, repackaged it, and handed it to her husband as he left for work. Later that day, just past 1 p.m., her best friend walked up to her and whispered, "We're free now. We can be together." Vanessa blinked, confused. "What?" "I poisoned the food you gave your husband," he said with a strange calmness. "Now he won't be the reason I can't have you." Vanessa's heart stopped. She grabbed her phone and dialed her husband's number. No answer. She kept calling. Still nothing. 2 hours later, her phone rang. They told her he was dead. She couldn't scream. She couldn't cry. She just stood there, numb, with her best friend still sitting on their couch. She hasn't reported him. She knows she should. But something in her is frozen, torn between guilt, fear, and an unbearable truth she still can't face. Does that make her a bad person? What's your take about marriage couples having opposite genders as bestie? Let's know what you think in the comments section.